Hello, fellow delegates. Today I'm going to be talking about enhancing the efficiency in the collection and processing of recovered paper through technology and government policies. Now, before we get too in-depth with the presentation, I want to quickly go over the synopsis of the presentation. I am going to start off with the major problems that we are experiencing currently and some of the solutions that can be implemented to help solve them. Some of these solutions are technological advancements in paper recycling, as well as government programs and policies. Now, let me list just some data for you on India's current situation. India currently generates over 63 million tons of waste a year, and only 43 of those get collected. And out of those 43 million tons, only 12 million tons are actually treated for disposal, and the remaining 31 million tons are simply thrown into landfills. That means that there is 20 million tons of waste that is completely uncollected and is consequently discarded in the streets or in the environment. Inadequate waste collection, transport, treatment, and disposal have become major issues, have become major causes for environmental and public health concerns in the country. We must find solutions that are both cost-effective and also able to increase our very low efficiency. New technology and governmental incentives are going to be very instrumental in helping to increase the efficiency. Projections show that India is going to be producing 165 million tons of waste by 2030. We must make changes to increase our efficiency in treating and processing our waste as soon as possible. For technology, we have many different new technologies, starting with sensor-based sorting, having automation in paper collection, and using machine learning and data analysis to help reduction of contamination and increase in participation in recycling programs. For this daunting challenges that India is facing with the waste programs, government policies are going to play a huge role in helping to solve this challenge. The government needs to step in and set up recycling programs that are enforced and made mandatory. They will also need to educate state and municipal officials on these programs. The government will also need to set up some sort of financial incentives to both recycling programs and individual households. Sensor-based technology has been implemented in other countries and has been shown to vastly improve accuracy and increase efficiency. Let me briefly go through this diagram. First of all, on the left, as you can see, you have the feed coming in from collected waste, which is put on the conveyor. Next, the scanning unit uses lasers to identify different forms of paper grades, as well as any contaminants. These contaminants are identified and marked for the reject pile. The separation chamber uses mechanical, hydraulic, or pneumatic process to sort out between rejects and acceptables. Sensor-based sorting is increasing of accuracy by 95% in identifying various contaminants and sorting them to different piles. The rejects from the first pass-through are not automatically discarded. They are run through the process multiple times in order to reduce the wastage of recyclable materials. Paper and waste collection needs to have automation implemented in the form of waste trucks. These waste trucks use automation to increase the capture rate and collection efficiency. And now, just to clarify, automation in the waste trucks are not referring to full automation in the form of no manpower. Automation in this example is referring to having no need for these drivers to get out of the trucks to dump the bins into the truck. The trucks drive up to the bins and grab them with the hydraulic cloth and dump them into the top of the truck. This vastly increases the rate at which these trucks can go around collecting the waste, and in the case of different bins, make it much easier to decrease the contamination between waste grades. These waste collection trucks are also divided between recyclable collection trucks and general waste trucks. The program operating these trucks would also be branded on the trucks itself so it can serve as a form of marketing and education tool. The next technological advance I'm going to be discussing is going to be software-related. Machine learning utilizes historical data on paper collection and processing to identify patterns and trends that might not be apparent through manual analysis. Machine learning algorithms use a number of factors such as median household income, age, pollution, and poverty rate to determine the contamination percentage. After determining the contamination percentage, these algorithms can give optimal sorting strategies in real time. Machine learning has been demonstrated to lead to a 20% improvement in the efficiency of paper recycling process, as well as identifying the factors that are resulting in the higher contamination rates. Now, there are three major forms of recycling programs, and we're going to be spending a bit of time on each one. The simplest form of recycling is the single-stream recycling, and this is the form that is most likely used in most countries. The single-stream recycling is a simple program in that all recyclable materials, paper, plastic, glass, etc., are all collected in a single bin. And while this is the easiest form of recycling, it also leads to major sources of contamination and time consumed later on at recycling centers to sort out the different recyclables. Next, we have the dual-stream recycling, which takes the single-stream recycling and upgrades it. In this dual stream, we have two predetermined categories, which are usually paper grades and containers. This simple chain does lead to reduction of contamination and time saved on sorting out at the recycling centers. Finally, we have the multi-stream recycling, and this is absolutely the hardest to implement in any society. In this multi-stream, there are bins for multiple categories, such as paper, plastic, glass, and metals. This multi-stream recycling would heavily depend on individual households taking the time to divide all of their waste between the bins and knowing what each waste actually is. While this might be the hardest program to implement, it also offers us the highest material purity and quality. As each recycling program increases in complexity, as does the cost at implementing these programs. So the single-stream recycling might not offer us the same type of purity and quality as the multi-stream. It is a lot more economical in terms of implementation, both in educating the public and in collection of these recyclables. Now, as we all know, financial incentives go a long way in helping get change started. The government is going to have to implement various financial incentives, especially at the beginning, to jumpstart the recycling program in India. Tax incentives for new recycling centers and waste collection companies would greatly increase the chances that these programs actually stay around and help set up the foundation for long-term business. As I said earlier, India is going to be greatly increasing their usage of paper and thus increasing the waste produced in the next decade. This is the perfect time to have new waste companies set up now to prepare for this increase. Now, the financial incentives are not just for companies, but should also be offered to individual households in the form of credits to their utility bills. Just as there are incentives, there should also be a form of financial repercussions for not following mandatory recycling programs. For individual households, they can be in the form of fines incurred for not following the recycling outline. This will further motivate households to make sure that these programs last for a long time and do not just peter out. Waste generation is projected to be 0.7 kilogram per person per day in 2025. Most of the country's landfills are overcrowded, exceeding the maximum height limit of 20 meters. Before the implementation of the Waste to Wealth program, the standard practice to curtail the landfill increase was to burn the waste. However, this has led to a massive increase of air pollution. In India, currently 8% of the people living in the urban areas are are exposed to air quality levels that exceed the permitted levels mandated by the World Health Organization. To curtail this increase of waste and decrease the landfills, India is launching the Waste to Wealth. The Indian government have set up various proposed sites for different recyclable materials. For the paper and pulp industry, the proposed Sentinel site will be set up in Saran. So instead of all these materials going to landfills, they get sent to these various sites to get processed. This program should lead to an increase in recycling and the reusing of paper materials. However, this program alone will not curtail the current wastage usage of India, much less the projected numbers that we're going to be seeing in incoming years. The Indian government needs to implement many more Sentinel sites and programs in the near future. They must also educate the public on the importance of recycling and the benefits of using more paper. However, it is not just up to the government to promote more recycling and using of more paper. We in the paper and pulp industry must also do our due diligence in educating the public. We at JMT Paper Tech have taken that first step by trademarking use more paper in the US. We believe that in order to educate the general public on why paper is more beneficial and highly recyclable, we must market it at every step. In conclusion, there needs to be multiple paths taken to increase the waste recycling in India. From technological advancements to government incentives, we must implement both to achieve higher levels of participation and efficiency in the recycling cycle. Thank you.